All right, let's give this a try. Hi there, my name is Brianna Cassia, and this is a brief overview of a medieval skill set that I happen to have. My victim today is a chestnut mare by the name of Tsaritsa. She's my championship winning horse. What I'm going to talk to you today about is the process of quartering, which in modern terms is called grooming. And it's the process by which we remove dirt from the horse so that we can saddle them up and get them ready to ride, or harness them up and get them ready to drive. So I'm using 5 different tools. I'm starting with the sharp curry, which is a metal round tool. It is used for scraping mud off, scraping light coats of dirt off, getting water off the coat, and in this case also shedding out. She is shedding out her summer coat and growing her winter coat, which is a bad sign, but I'm going to use it very lightly in a sweeping motion and a bit of a flick at the end. Now, what they used in the Middle Ages, they absolutely did use brushes and combs. The curry, I'm not sure about. I know that we have the metal curries dating back to the 1800s, but that was when we had the ability to process metal. But as you can see, it's quite effective at getting the coat, the hair and dirt lifted off the coat. It also, because it's like slightly longer, I can reach under her belly and get those sides and those parts of her, because she's quite a large horse. I can get those parts of her that are unreachable unless I bend or give. So that's the curry. You would then go to the other side and do the same on the other side. Then I have a round rubber curry. This is used, this is a very modern tool, but I'm pretty sure they used something similar. Probably it wasn't flexible. If it was, it would have been made out of probably leather. I have yet to try and make one. Because it would definitely have been made out of something that was perishable, we have very little in the way of extant grooming tools left. So the rubber curry in modern terms is used in a circular motion on the whole neck and body of the horse. It lifts dirt from the bottom of the hair up to the top of the hair. As you can see, it's also good at shedding, but it is a closer up tool. You got to get right in there. And you can use it anywhere where there's muscle. So that's the neck, body, belly, and upper legs. Now, this horse went out for a trail ride yesterday. So she's got a little bit of sweat on her coat, just a little bit of salt grit. So that's mostly what I'm trying to get off her today. And again, dealing a bit with the shedding coat. So that's pretty good. There we go. Good girlie. She's a love. We move on to the brushes. So I have 2 brushes here. They're both fairly soft bristled because she has a short coat right now. She's not shedding out her winter. So this one has longer bristles, but it is slightly softer. This one has a bit more dense brushes or bristles. And these would have been made out of boar bristle. You can in fact still buy wooden handled boar bristled brushes. They are expensive and they are limited in use. So these are both not natural materials. These are both plastic and synthetic materials, which unfortunately does create static when you are brushing your horse. I'm going to use both at the same time. Absolutely, during the Middle Ages, quartering a horse, you wanted to get it done quickly and efficiently, which meant that you wanted to make sure that anywhere you had tack or equipment was clean from dirt and mud, and you were also at the same time looking over the horse for any injuries or problems. Because quite often you weren't just grooming one horse to get on that horse and ride that horse. The groom's duties would have included feeding, stable mucking, grooming, tacking, or quartering, tacking, and or harnessing, and prepping that horse for the handler or rider. So they generally weren't the same people doing both jobs, unlike today where it's a hobby, so we do it all. So I'm going to use the short bristled brush in a flicking motion, like so. And you can see that's a really efficient and effective way to remove that coat dirt that we lifted with the curries. Really efficient way to do that. It also is soft bristled, so it can be used all the way down the leg. And she's got a little bit of mud here, so I'm going to scrub at that and just get that mud lifted. Good. And then I'm going to follow up that flicking motion with the one brush, the longer bristled brush, you follow that up with a sweeping motion with a shorter bristle brush. And this just lays the hair coat flat and smooth and adds that little bit of sheen because you're bringing up the oils and you're laying them into the hairs. You're still using quite a bit of pressure. This is not a job for the weak of arm, especially on a nice big horse like her. So again, I've got one brush in each hand and I am doing the flicking one. That's what we call a dandy brush in modern terms. Again, there's not a lot of information in the manuals from any period about quartering, other than calling it quartering, which has to do with the quarters of the horse. So you want to clean the forequarter, you want to clean the rear quarter, but we don't know what methodologies they use. We don't know what they call their tools for the most part, other than brush, which is a very old word. So comb and brush, you know, you're dealing with hair. It's the same name for the implements used on people. So I am doing this only on one side. You would, of course, do both sides of the horse. Now she's got quite a bit of dust built up in here. She had a good roll after our ride yesterday. Lots of dust in the air. I joke with my students mundanely that grooming is the process of transferring dust from the horse's coat to yours. So that remains true. Okay, so we would then move on to using a comb for her mane and tail. But as you can see, she doesn't have a lot of mane. I trimmed it all off earlier this year, and she actually has a foreshortened tail. So I'm not even going to bother with that. I will say that part of the duties of the groom and quartering was binding up or braiding up the mane and tail to get them out of the way of whatever armoring you were putting on your horse, whatever caparison or barding you were putting on your horse. Part of the joys of having this kind of a short mane is that there's not a lot to work with, which is good. She still manages to get it a little dirty. You will note that when I'm using the brushes, while I was using the curry, the rubber curry goes against the coat of the grain of the coat. You're using it in a circular motion. The brushes, you're following the grain of the coat. And the hair patterns grow in various ways. On the shoulders, it's down. On the neck, it's kind of a cross. On the body, it's kind of a cross and down. Here on the loins, and it's actually up and around in a big kind of a fountain. And that serves an evolutionary purpose, which is beyond the scope of this discussion. So, the final tool, and actually probably one of the most valuable tools, and one of the ones that has changed the least across the ages. There are extant examples of metal and bone and wood hoof picks, we use metal. We have a plastic handle shaped around it. We have a bristled brush on the end of it. So we've kind of incorporated more than one tool into it. I'm not sure from this angle if you can actually see the horse's hoof. I'm going to kind of bend my frame down a little so we can try and get a little bit lower angle. That might do it. I don't know. I can't really see what I'm looking at. Okay, so picking up the horse's feet and cleaning out the hoof is probably the most important task. Come on, Mare, pick it up. She's saying, I can't possibly. Okay, rebalance, back up, good. And foot, please, thank you. So this is the removal of dirt from the hoof and also the unleashing of any rocks that have gotten caught in her hoof. Picking up their feet is an essential skill for horses. It's not only to keep them clean and put shoes on if your horse is shod, which many period horses were, but also many weren't. But it's also to maintain the hoof, and it is an exercise of trust. The horse, which is a prey animal, is trusting you with their feet, and so they're removing their means of getting away from danger. So that is the process of quartering a horse. So that's my demonstration of a medieval skill I happen to have. Let's go over here so you guys can see what a pretty girl she is. Hi, pretty girl. That's our Zoritza.